As human beings, we suffer from an innate tendency to jump to conclusions, to judge people too quickly, and to pronounce them failures or heroes without due consideration of the actual facts and ideals of the period. As you may possibly have noticed from time to time, I have tended to make a habit of sticking my head above the parapet and generally getting it shot off for pointing out what has always been blindingly obvious to me. The death of my beloved mother, Her Majesty the Queen, is a moment of the greatest sadness for me and all members of my family. We mourn profoundly the passing of a cherished sovereign and a much-loved mother. We're busily wrecking the chances for future generations at a rapid rate of knots by not recognizing the damage we're doing to the natural environment, bearing in mind that this is the only planet that we know has any life on it. We can halt the destruction of the world's rainforests and even restore parts of them in order to ensure that the forests do what they are so good at, in other words, storing carbon naturally. On an increasingly crowded planet, humanity faces many threats, but none is greater than climate change. It magnifies every hazard and tension of our existence. It is baffling, I must say, that in our modern world we have such blind trust in science and technology that we all accept what science tells us about everything until, that is, it comes to climate science. You have to give this much to the Luftwaffe. When it knocked down our buildings, it did not replace them with anything more offensive than rubble. We did that. Her dedication and devotion as sovereign never wavered, through times of change and progress, through times of joy and celebration, and through times of sadness and loss. The affection and admiration became a hallmark of her realm. She combined these qualities. I pay tribute to my mother's memories. I know her death brings sadness. I share the sense with you all. As the Queen herself did with such unswerving devotion, I, too, now solemnly pledge myself, throughout the remaining time God grants me, to uphold the constitutional principles at the heart of our nation. Alongside the personal grief that all my family are feeling, we also share with so many of you in the United Kingdom, in all the countries where the Queen was head of state, in the Commonwealth and across the world. I pay tribute to my mother's memory and I honor her life of service. I know that her death brings great sadness to so many of you and I share that sense of loss, beyond measure, with you all. At the end of the day, the primary purpose of capitalism should surely be to serve the wider long-term interests and concerns of humanity rather than the other way around. Something as curious as the monarchy won't survive unless you take account of people's attitudes. After all, if people don't want it, they won't have it. A large number of us have developed a feeling that architects tend to design houses for the approval of fellow architects and critics, not for the tenants. The mistake is to think that clever technology can solve everything, but it can't solve our relationship with nature, which is where I think it's gone wrong in that we have somehow abandoned our proper connection with nature. There is no doubt that we live in an age of unprecedented, and sometimes terrifying, technological advances where the speed of advance so often outstrips the necessary ethical considerations. I think we'd be very foolish to expect that we can just import everything from somewhere else and imagine that that's going to last forever and ever and ever.